Yes, we are live.
We
Hello,
are live.
Ellen.
Hi,
Hello.
Nathalie.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm just shutting off my phone. I noticed that it was on. I don't want to be interrupted. Sorry about that. Hang
That's
on.
okay.
There. No interruptions from my end. Hi, Nathalie. Happy
Hi.
to be here. Thank you very, very much for this opportunity to speak to your community.
Well, I'm so happy that you're here. And we were just chatting before going live, saying how, on the one hand, it is a big step outside of our comfort zone to be interviewed. I know for you and for many other people that are interviewed. And on the other hand, I'm just saying we're having a conversation. We're just
Right.
chatting and we're just sharing, the information, the precious information that you're going to share with us.
Well, thank you.
And what I want to start with, and I see that people are joining, so I would love for everyone who's joining to type your name, where you're from, because we want to have this interview being interactive, and I'm sure you'll have a lot of questions for Ellen. So make sure to type in your name, where you're from, if you know Ellen, and then if you have questions, I'll make sure to pass on the questions during the interview.
That would be great.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's cool.
interactive is the best, and whatever people want to know, that's that's the best thing to share for sure.
Exactly. But I want to start first by the way that you contacted me first, Ellen, because I know you've been in this community and in this group, the Born to Do Business Global community, but you actually sent me an email and you said something around what I do in the community. And then I said, hey, I love what you do. Do you want to be interviewed? And this is how we did it. So
that's exactly right.
Right.
That's
So
exactly
not really difficult, right? So I just want to say this is a shout out. If you feel you have something to share with the community, something that can be helpful, something that can serve others, just contact me. We have a calendar of interviews, and the goal here is that we get to know each other and we share everyone's expertise. So thank you for reaching out, and I'm very happy that you're here tonight.
Thank you for responding, and I'll certainly support anybody who suggests that they might want to be on your show and interviewed by you.
Amazing. So we have two people already joining us. I'm just looking at my other screen. Don't think that I'm looking away because I'm looking at the names. We have Sharon Atchell from Jerusalem, and we have someone who knows you. I don't know yet who it is, from many years from AACI. Let me tell you who it is right away so I can see the names, because as you know on StreamYard, it's Sharon. It's still Sharon. So Sharon Atchell is here with us. Thank you, Sharon, for typing in. And if anyone else wants to type in your name, where you're from, that would be great to start the interaction. So let me start by sharing with you who is Ellen. I think that we need to know who you are, and then we'll start talking about a few things around what you do and how it could be helpful for everyone. So Ellen is an ergonomics consultant and yoga teacher. She came to Israel from Canada in 1998 with 4 young kids and a background in finance and international business. When she first came to Israel, she introduced 2 outstanding Canadian products to the Israeli market. I hope I'm going to say this right. Obus form, or
the Obus form. All Canadians will know it in case any are watching. The Obus form.
Okay, Obus form, orthopedic seating solutions, and Soul Custom food beds, which allowed her to partner with a leading ergonomics expert in Israel. She has been helping people to sit and move comfortably ever since. Her understanding that awareness and movement can help reduce stress and pain led her to delve into the world of ergonomics and yoga. Today, she is the founder of Ergolife, an ergonomics blogger, and she helps people be happier, safer, and more productive while reducing the risk of fatigue and injury.
Wow. When you told me you were going to read my bio, I thought you meant the 2-line version that I sent you yesterday evening. I don't even know where you pulled that from. That's a little more information than anybody needs, but okay.
Listen, we need to know who is being interviewed, and I want to share with you. I'm just allowing people to join if they want to join in I'm allowing, because probably they're joining to listen to you, so we don't want them to miss that. I'm going to share with you my first feeling, my first reaction when I read your bio, and the reason why I said this is interesting. I think a lot of people need it. The first feeling that I felt is I felt guilty. And I want to tell you why. Because I know that I'm sitting the whole day. I know that I'm not probably sitting right. I know that this is not doing good for my body. And I know that I'm probably not being performing, as well as I could or I should. And yet, right? And this is what I want to ask you. This is my first question. And yet, I don't change. So I'm sure that you have a lot of people just like me, or, tell me please that I'm not the only one, that know things in their head, in their minds. Like, we know it's not good to sit all day. You need to walk and you probably tell us what we hear all the time. And, you need to walk, you need to move your body. But first, I would love to know what are your, suggestions, but also I want to address the fact that how come we know things and we don't implement? Can you explain that? Like, I know it's good for my body, but I'm sure that a lot of people here on the call know that, and yet we don't do it.
Everybody on the call knows it. You're at the exact same place that everybody is at. I mean, most people that approach me have a pretty high sense of awareness, ergonomic awareness. Everybody knows they're doing something wrong. An individual, you're in the exact same situation as all individuals who contact me. With a corporation, it's a different thing because they might have HR requirements that they're fulfilling, an annual ergonomic review for all workers, or they might have regulatory requirements. Some countries now have regulatory requirements that any worker who is now working from home is entitled to receiving an ergonomic evaluation. But any individual that calls me is in the exact same situation that you're in, except some of them are in much worse pain. I have actually, I mean, the classic case is I did an interview, an evaluation for somebody who his osteopath called me. The patient was on morphine for shoulder pain after shoulder surgery, and the way he was working was, I had never seen anything like it in my life. So either your awareness that you should be working differently or sitting less or moving more unfortunately, might not be enough to make you pick up the phone and call me. The reason people are calling now is because they're in pain, and that's a very sad thing, but everybody is working from home now, and many people have left their good furniture and equipment and setup, which may have been done by someone other than them, at the office. And as you know, I see that you're working from somewhere other than your office right now, so probably it's not ideal, but really that's the situation everybody's in, because we're all working from, people that were in an office. Some of us always work from home, but anybody that worked in an office before probably does not have their best equipment or setup or furniture in their home. Many people, as you know, are working from the sofa, the kitchen table, the dining room table, and even bed. And although you'd think, well, at least they're getting up and throwing in a load of laundry every half hour, the truth is that on a cumulative daily basis, people are sitting more and working more at home. So that on the one hand, they're working longer hours, and on the other hand, their setup is worse, and it's a deadly combination. So I wish people would call me because they knew it could be better, but they don't. They call me because they're in pain. Individuals call because they're in pain. Corporations call because they want to. It's part of a corporate wellness program, or they have to. But unfortunately, individuals usually call when they're in pain, and now is the time, because it's become, the situation has worsened from both ends.
Yes. Yeah. So on the one hand, I know that some people are happy to work from home because, it's easier in terms of logistics, and, it's more comfortable. Like you said, you can put in a laundry, you can eat at home, you can be more comfortable at home on the one hand. On the other hand, what you're saying is really we don't have ideal work settings, right? Because we're working on a dining room table or wherever we find. So what would you say? And as someone is writing, and again, I'm going to look at the name. I'm sorry, I'm not seeing the name. Someone is saying Ellen's tips are so helpful as I spend most of the day at the computer now. Exactly. So that's exactly what we're talking about. And so. And I think
in that comment is the word now. Like, is this a person who maybe didn't spend most of the day at the computer before? Because the way our jobs have changed, like the way we do them has changed. Maybe people were, you know, having walking meetings or standing meetings or walking around their office. A lot of people are spending more. I admit it. I'm spending more time, much more time sitting at my computer now.
Course. And so what would be the main tips that you would give if, you know, most of the people that are in this community are either solopreneur or business owners of small businesses? Most of them were working from home before. They're probably more
Right.
on the computer because you also have all the other activities, not only work-related activities, and also because there's frankly nothing to do outside when you're in lockdown. And
Of
you know
course.
the only thing you have to do is at home. So what would you say are the main tips that you can give to solopreneurs? I would guess essentially women, even though we have a few good men here in the group. But what would be the best tips that you can give when we have to sit almost the whole day? We have to work on the computer. What would be the best tips that you
I'm
can
just
share?
going to first address your point that you said women, because I would have said the tips that I would give are not gender specific. But yesterday I saw that the keynote speaker at the International Ergonomics Conference this coming summer is speaking about ergonomics and gender. In other words, the way that the world has been designed is not so suitable to the, you know, the different body types and needs of women. So actually it is an issue, and I'm going to start to think about it more. It's not an issue that I thought about specifically, because I look at it very individually, that every individual's needs should be met. So, you know, all women don't necessarily fit into one category, but I'm going to say the first tip is that somebody should get to where you are, like awareness, the point that you're at, like they're aware. And part of it is just increase your general ergonomics awareness, but part of it is really listening to your body, just paying attention to what's going on before your body is screaming at you. Like if you suddenly don't want to go back to your computer, and you know, if you delve into it, it could be because you know that your wrist is going to feel very irritated, you know, or you know that your shoulders are just too tense. Like you could start from noticing that background kind of unpleasantness. I urge people to set a timer, like a break reminder software or any other kind of a timer. Notice what's happened to your posture. A lot of people know or think they know how they should be sitting and how they are sitting. Most people might know how they should be sitting, but they probably don't know how they are sitting. Get somebody, if you have somebody that you can ask to photograph you when you're working candidly from different angles, that would be amazing information. The first thing is just be aware. The second tip is move. You know, you have to get up, and that's again where break reminder software comes in. A lot of people are using this Pomodoro method now, where they set a 25-minute timer either to help them complete a task or for various reasons, but you have to move. And there is a joke in ergonomics, which is, what is the best ergonomic position? And the answer is the next one. And that's the truest thing. You have to alternate. And if people ask me, is a physio ball good? Should I have a standing workstation? What do you think about the Swedish, chairs? The answer is everything is good. Nothing is good by itself. All that hype a few years ago about sitting is the new smoking. Of course, it's an exaggeration, but it's also not true. Sitting isn't the problem. It's maintaining any static position for a long period of time. If you just threw away your chair and stood all day, that would be no better. The idea is mix it up all the time and move. And if I'm doing an evaluation of somebody, I always ask them what their movement practice is. But the movement that you do in your leisure time can never compensate you for long hours spent huddled, crouched over your computer. It's got, like, the frequency of your breaks is actually more important than what you do in them. So moving is really split into those two categories, like frequency of breaks and also alternating your position. And then the other tip that I would give, but this is a bit of a more in-depth situation, is to adjust your workstation to you and stop adjusting yourself to your workstation, because without realizing it, this is what most people do. If you're in the wrong place, or if the chair is in the wrong relationship to the desk for a whole number of reasons, people adjust their bodies into very dangerous positions. So bring your workstation to you, and that's it. Those are, that's awareness, movement, and adjust it.
And movement. So I have two questions for you. The first one is related to the breaks, because not too long ago I did a challenge, a morning routine challenge, and I was teaching about high performance habits, which are habits of how people, entrepreneurs, should really manage their days and have routines. And one of the things that I taught there, which is something that I tried to implement, it's not easy, is to have a break every 45 minutes. Now, I heard about the method, I forgot the name, I think you mentioned it, of the 25 minutes, and there's a whole debate, is it 25, is it 45? I know for me, 25 is too short. Like, I can't really see myself setting an alarm every 25 minutes, but 45 minutes, that's something that I took upon myself. And I have actually an alarm that goes off every 45 minutes. I have different blocks of time. So my question is, because I'm trying to see how to integrate what you're saying in my way of working, and I hope that other people can also ask their own questions, because as you said, it's very personal, right? It's something that you need to adapt. So if I work every 45 minutes and I stand up and I move every 45 minutes, is that enough in terms of frequency?
First of all, the real answer comes from your body. I don't have a problem with 45 minutes. If you said to me every 2.5 hours, I'd say no. Every 2 hours, no. I mean, I think in theory, 2 minutes, an hour of stretching is enough to rehydrate your connective tissue, So some people might need more than 45 minutes. I think it's reasonable every 45 minutes, particularly if you're noticing what's going on, paying attention, and giving your body what it needs, really gentle movement. Switching, that doesn't rule out switching positions, Nathalie. Like, I'm really in favor of using different relationships to your workstation, and not just going back to sitting for 45 minutes at a time.
I see. So you're saying it's the frequency and the changing the position.
Totally.
Okay. But my next question was, I mean, a lot of people, including me, have heard of this standing desk, right? Yeah. So people have this high desk and you have your computer. And actually, sometimes I find it, it's easier to speak while you're standing. So, it could be a nice way of working. But where it's a challenge is if we have to sometimes stand and sometimes sit. Like, how are you going to have a standing desk and a sitting desk? You need to have like two different desks.
Moves with you. They're different. Everything moves with you. Everything comes up. Your keyboard, your monitor, your mouse, your paperwork. Everything comes up with you, so that you set the desk, the standing height, so that your forearms will still be supported. Your monitor will still be at the right height. That's not an issue. The issue is, you ask, like, how do you split your time? Is that what you're asking?
No, I mean, I don't know. I've never worked on the standing desk, but is the standing desk like module? Like, can you change the height?
Yes, yes. A standing desk is really called a sit stand, or a height adjustable desk. People call it a standing desk. It means a height adjustable desk. So there are desktop modules that are hydraulic, and it's very easy. You lift them up and you put them down. I have one. I use it by task. I find that standing is very good for concentration. So if I do something that requires more concentration, let's say writing like a blog piece, and then I know I'm absolutely not going to want to be distracted, and I shut off emails, then I stand. You can do it by task. Other people, lawyers, split it by task. They might want to do their typing standing and their reading sitting down. Or you can do it by time. The key thing is to get a height adjustable desk that is easy to mix. Like, the key is mix it up all day, every day. A standing desk is a misnomer, very much so. Adjustable is the key word there.
So meaning, like, when you want to write a blog post, you bring it up, and then when you want to read, you bring it down.
That's right.
You do like the whole day. You do like up and down.
I do up and down by task. Other people, you can do it. Some people stand in the morning and sit afternoon, and I don't like that because that's too much time at one task. You should mix it up. Ideally, if you're not used to standing and you get a height adjustable desk, you should be standing for only 20 minutes at a time. And this, I'd like to say this is really important. If you're going to stand, you should get an anti-fatigue mat, because you don't want to transfer lower back fatigue to feet and leg fatigue. You know, you always want to be careful not to change one set of problems for another. You want to make an improvement in your quality of, you know, in your quality of life with any change that you make.
So I have to say that this is the first time that I'm getting a concrete, and I would love for everyone here is telling me, you know, tell us how this is resonating. Is this applicable? But for me, this is the first time that I hear something that I can actually apply, because I would say to myself, okay, but if I get a standing desk, then I'm going to be standing the whole day. So, you know, this alternative of being standing the whole day wasn't a good choice for me. But if you're telling me that it's, you know, going up and down, then I see the advantage of having such a desk. So
mix it up all day, every day. You know, that's absolutely key. And start with I almost said standing desk. From this moment forward, I'm always going to say height adjustable desk, because that's a big confusion.
You see, because for me, a standing desk is a desk you buy and you're always standing.
No. That's interesting. You really brought something very important to my attention, because I wasn't even aware of that perception.
Well, it's really an ignorance, you know, because I don't know what a standing desk is. So I don't know if a lot of people do. So
that's a really great point. So I'll
okay. I'm happy that I contributed.
Okay.
I'm happy. Now, the other thing I wanted to ask you, because I'm a big fan of this, and I would love anyone who's like me also to jump in here in this conversation, is I love to work in bed. I enjoy it. I could change, like, you know, when I feel tired on my desk, so I can go in bed or on the sofa, but I love, and I don't know if you know about those, you buy them at IKEA. It's like a kind of a thing you put the computer, and it's a cushion below, so you can put it on your lap.
Right.
And then
you have sort of a bean bag below. Yes.
Yes, a bean bag with a flat surface so you can put the computer. And so I have two of those, because I have one in my bedroom and one in the living room. So it's I like this position. So tell me, is this a bad position? Is that not a good idea?
I don't want to make a blanket statement. And also, because I haven't observed you working at your computer, I really can't comment. Like, all I can say is I have to always see. I can never hear about somebody's situation or complaints, because there's usually a part of the story that is kind of missing from the way you describe it yourself. When you say this to me, two things come to my mind, but there could be many others. One is, what's going on with your neck? Okay, because it's very hard to get those things up to a safe height that you don't have to, exactly. And the other thing is, what's going on with your forearms? Because so many of those, I'm really like obsessed with this idea of forearm support is necessary to relax the shoulders. If your forearms aren't supported, your shoulders are going to be taking a big hit. So yes, working in bed, if you're very attentive and aware and clever with props, it can be okay. But I'm not, you know, you have to support what needs supported. And height, it's tricky. It's very tricky to get the laptop up to the right height. You know, I've hesitated to write a piece about working in bed. I've done work on the sofa. It's dangerous, Natalie. It can work. Yeah. It can work, but you know, you didn't say how long you work like that. You didn't say if you do it for 10 minutes or for 2 hours.
Right, that's true. Right, that's true too. That's true too. I'm just letting people. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, you know what the problem is, that the visuals are a little choppy, and that's why I'm interrupting you without intending to, because there's a lag between what I hear and what I see. But ergonomic damage, musculoskeletal damage, is cumulative, okay? The thing is, you're probably not going to feel the results of what you're doing today. But that doesn't mean that the damage isn't accumulating along the way. So you do want to be thinking long term. Like, if it's not safe, you're probably not going to get good results. You know, you can get away with it. Younger people can get away with it more than older people, and people who, you know, don't do it, don't work for, you know, sometimes the people with horrible ergonomics have no complaints because they only work 3 hours a day, you know, they're only sitting 3 hours a day. So you could get, you know, I'm not saying never work in bed again, but I doubt very much that your neck is in a correct alignment when you're working in bed. Sorry. But we have to do the things we love,
That's okay.
right?
That's okay.
We love
What I
we have to do things that we love.
Well, of course, we also have to have a right balance between what we should do and what we love to do. So that's for sure also goes into the equation. Right. But from what I understand, Ellen, basically it's really about having an expert like you looking at the behavior and giving a customized evaluation of what is good or less good or what should change. So what I understand from you is that there are main tips that we can listen to, we can understand and be aware of, but basically it comes down to you, or, you know, observing the behavior and really seeing what the person is doing before you can give any diagnosis or any recommendation. Is that correct?
Yes, I completely agree with you. It would be impossible. I try never to give any advice if I haven't seen it. And by the way, and this is one of the other benefits of the COVID working style, it can be done virtually. Nobody knew this before. You know, I don't think anyone was doing virtual. Maybe I shouldn't say no one I know was doing virtual assessments prior to COVID. But now that's what we're doing, and it turns out like the way I do it is I send a sample of angles that I need to be captured, and then anything that didn't come, so I have those photos to work with, and then of course the person can always take their phone during the interview. I would never agree to do an assessment without seeing it because I don't have all the information. And you know, everybody, most individuals, again, it's different with corporate, but with individuals, people have usually diagnosed, you know, what they're doing wrong, but the diagnosis isn't usually the correct one, you know? So you're right. It starts with listening to, you know, complaints, observing what they're doing, evaluating the ergonomic risk, and then only then making recommendations.
Yes, amazing. Now, and the good news is that you are very generous and offering a 20% discount on a virtual evaluation for the members of this community. So we're already saying that at the end of this interview, you'll go in the chat, in the comments of the live, and you will put your contact details, and anyone who wants to have a virtual evaluation would get a 20% off, which is a very generous offer. So that's already something that we're saying. And I think that you've really proven how we cannot have general comments. You need to see what the person is doing, what is the behavior, how long. It seems like it's very customized before you can give any recommendation. So I think that this is very professional from you.
You've summed it up so well. That's it. That's exactly right. And yeah, I really can't say it any better, so there's no need to restate it. I'll just add that the changes don't have to be big. And this is what's so brilliant about ergonomics. Small changes make a big difference, but they're often not changes a person would see or think of on their own.
Can you give an example?
Can I give an example? Sure. People are turning their neck all day to look at a computer screen that's over in the corner. Sometimes there's a reason that it's there. The most common reason is the cables are too short to move it. Sometimes it's because in a pre-COVID world, they also had to have meetings in their office. So a simple change like a hinged monitor arm, which allows you to bring your computer here so that you don't have to twist your neck, which is an ergonomic risk, but then just move it away with the touch of your pinky when you're having a meeting. It's a very small change. It's an inexpensive change, but all of a sudden your neck and shoulders aren't constricted and contracted and hurting you or frozen in many cases.
Wow, that's really true. That really is something that you wouldn't think about because you don't
Right.
observe, you
Small
don't hear.
changes will make a huge difference.
Right, right. Amazing. I love that example. Feel free, everyone, before we end this interview, to type in your questions. If you have any questions for Ellen, I know I asked my questions because
No, right.
I
Your
know.
questions were such great questions. They were just great.
Yes, exactly. Now, I also want to talk about because I know you are a yoga teacher, and this is how you also practice. So, where does yoga meet ergonomics? Can you tell us more about how the two meet and what is in common between the two?
Okay. There are many things in common in terms of the self-awareness and body awareness and the whole stress reduction. When your body feels better, you're in less stress, and it's all part of self-care. But I'll pick one specific point, and that is in yoga. I mean, I know there's a lot of yoga teachers who are much better yoga teachers than I am and more experienced, do hands-on adjustments. But I never adjust the body into the pose. I always adjust the pose or the surroundings to the individuals. Like I'm a private yoga teacher. I do a little bit of online yoga ergonomic combination for corporate stuff, and doing something now for Siemens. But as a private yoga teacher, I really know my clients and I know their bodies, and I adjust them like we use props to bring the floor to them, or to release their joints. Like we use simple yoga props. I make the adjustments so the person doesn't ever have to be in an awkward pose. That's not awkward in yoga is to find something that's not right for their own body type. We just want the person to be able to release and relax and align in a pose. And it's the same. It's all about adjusting for the individual specific needs and body type, so that people aren't uncomfortably, straining to do something that's not right for their body type. I'm keeping my answer to the physical level. There's obviously like a wellness component, a body and self-care component that links the two. But on a physical level, it's about adjusting in yoga the poses, and in ergonomics the environment to meet the person, and to give them benefits. They don't have to, they don't have to, shouldn't have to suffer. Exactly.
Yeah. But I would love you to go into the wellness dimension, because the physical dimension is fascinating. But I think that beyond not having a body that hurts, I think that the wellness is what is going to motivate us to be proactive and to more look for, to preempt, to be more in the preemptive and not in the, healing. If we can do it before. So, what is the wellness dimension for that?
Correct. I agree with you. And I think a lot of people probably in your group and you and me, this has been a time to really examine those issues and say, like, how could we really invest in wellness and in self-care? Most people, back to ergonomics, they don't have to work the way they're working. They could do better with minimal minutes. Raise the awareness. It starts with raising the awareness, wanting to do better. There's so much room, to feel better. And there's so much discussion about stress reduction, and now we talk about Zoom fatigue and Zoom stress and Corona stress and tech stress and financial stress. And if you can relax the body, it relaxes the mind,
Right. For sure. I think that this is such an important conversation. We have someone here, and I'm looking at my other screen to look at the name so I can quote that person by name again. So who is asking us? We have Ellie Shimon Render, who's asking, have been doing Qigong, I think, Qigong. It's spelled
Qigong, maybe?
Qigong. I don't know. It's spelled Qigoog.
Oh, Qigoog. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Qigong. Maybe there's that's how, for body awareness and healing. Is this in the area of ergonomics? So maybe Ellie, might want to explain what is. I know of Qigong, but I don't know of Qigong.
I also don't. First of all, any movement practice is good, of course, and that's if it's anything like Qigong, it's probably a gentle movement practice, which is even better. And of course, it's all about body awareness. I think everything is related to everything here. You know,
Yeah,
definitely.
definitely.
Ergonomics is about body awareness.
Definitely. And so, Ellen, this would not be a Born to Do business community interview if I wasn't going to ask you, how did you get into that field?
Do you always ask that question?
Of course, because I know in the bio, when I read your bio, we said that you have a background in finance and international business. So how do we go from finance and international business to being an expert in ergonomics? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it was a product of making Aliyah in 1998. And like all the most important things in life, it was a chance thing that happened. Really, a virtual stranger said to me, next time you go to Canada, look for a Canadian product to import. And Obisform is just an outstanding Canadian product. It's really considered to be the best back support system in the world. It's a marvelous, marvelous product. And it led me into my first clients when I came to Israel were occupational therapists and physiotherapists and people who worked in seating laboratories, putting people with disabilities of 90% and upwards back to work. And I got the people were marvelous, and they were dedicated to helping people function and function comfortably. And I learned so much really from my customers that I decided to just learn more about sitting and the body. And you know how one thing always leads to another. Really, the interest came from my customers. I didn't have any kind of people always said to me when I was working with Obisform, like, are you a physiotherapist? No, I had no background, but I just couldn't leave it there. It became too interesting to me.
It sounds like it, because you sound passionate, and you sound like this is really a passion for you. So this is a great opportunity. But tell us more about this product. As you say, it's very known, but what does it do? Is it like for the back? Like, how do you use
it? It returns your back to its neutral. It returns your back to the neutral spine position. It's an S-shaped back support. I'll write it in the notes. I'm no longer working with the product line, but everybody knows it's just the greatest. It supports your back in its alternating curves, so that it reduces pressure all the way down the spine. Every part of the spine supports the weight. It distributes the weight, and it just reduces muscular work. People who are not able to sit, or after whiplash, or with terrible low back pain, it relaxes the back, and it returns the spine to a very neutral alignment where much less work is required by muscles.
And this is something that you put in the back of your chair, like
yes,
this is like
or in your car. Nathalie, you'd be hard pressed to find a Canadian that doesn't have one in their car. It's like a household word. Great product line.
Okay, and we have Naomi Jacobs here was saying Ellen is a real professional committed to her field. So here you go. This is a confirmation if we needed one. So Ellen, this is fascinating. I cannot think of any at least person working from home today or working with a computer who wouldn't need your services. So tell us more specifically, how can we work with you? What is the process? What is what do people have to do to work with you?
Well, right now we've gone remote like everybody else. So somebody contacts me, and I send them, I listen to what is going on with them, and I send them a couple of photos of angles that I would need to see to understand the situation. And then we schedule a 1-hour interview. During the interview, I can't say I've ever not discovered surprises. It's the same in person. It's never the situation that was described to you or that you expect to find it. There's always something unbelievable going on, and then I follow it up with a written report, and I break the interview. I follow it up with a written report. I listen to previous and past complaints that the person has had. I evaluate their ergonomic risks that are relevant right now based on what I see. I do find mitigating factors, like if the person moves around or walks around or alternates their position, or high awareness, and many, many other mitigating factors. And I make recommendations, and then I give them a written report. And if they want my help sourcing out solutions, which are not always necessary, furniture and equipment, like it's kind of broken into furniture and equipment and habits and awareness. You're actually lucky if the problem can be solved by furniture and equipment, because it's much easier to change than our habits, so than like a lifetime worth of habits. But that's it. And then there's a report. After the report, I'm completely available to that person, to help. They can discuss it with me. I help them implement it. They can send me a before and after. I'm available to the person.
Amazing.
I don't want to discuss pricing here, but it's very affordable.
Yeah, well, at least we know that the first process, which is the pictures and the interview and the report, this is what you call the virtual evaluation, right?
Yes, that is a virtual risk assessment,
and you are
evaluation.
Right, and you are offering a 20% discount for the members of the community. And what I could say also is that, we have someone who's saying, Cheryl is saying, Helen, you're doing an awesome job. Shua and I are watching. That's probably someone you know. Cheryl Leon.
Oh, okay, yes, I do. That's good.
So hello, Cheryl. Great to have you with us. And what I can already say, because we spoke a lot about it when Corona first started, is that you very successfully pivoted if you went on, to a virtual evaluation, because I'm sure that before it was in person, and now you have a way to help people, with pictures and angles.
Wherever they are. Wherever
they are, exactly.
Right? So that can help more people. But as you know, we all pivoted. I mean, that's what we learned about ourselves. We don't only adjust the world for other people. We adjust, right?
I know. But as a business coach, and as having helped so many entrepreneurs pivot, I'm always so impressed and very, admiring of how creative we become when we don't have a choice, right?
I'm really impressed too. And I found that about Israel. Like when I came here in 1998, people I found here are just always reinventing themselves. I think we might have had an advantage over, or maybe the world has just changed and I only saw that change going on here. I think here everybody's prepared to reinvent themselves, and it's good.
It's true. I agree. I think that we have an advantage, and I think that we know how to reinvent ourselves much faster. I really do. I think it's true. Well, Ellen, it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Nathalie, I thank you so much for this opportunity and for creating this community of people that really want to provide value and help each other. So thank you very, very much for letting me be part of it.
You're very welcome. Thank you for the very precious information that you shared. I'm sure that everyone really enjoyed, and I hope that this is I'm sure it will raise the awareness. And whoever wants to, yes, of course, and whoever wants to continue this discussion with you, you will go into the chat, put your email address or whatever way we have to contact you. And then they can say, I saw you in the interview, and then they can get the 20% for the virtual evaluation, which is a very generous offer that you're making for this community.
Okay, well, thank you very, very much. I will go in and I will send the information. I also have an ebook which I wrote about the ergonomics of working from home. Just all the pieces, that compilation, and I will send a link to that as well.
That's true. We posted it in the post. The link is in the post, but I think if you add it in the chat, it will be more accessible for everyone. So thank you, Ellen, for being here.
Thank you, Nathalie. Thank you,
everyone. And I wish everyone a Shabbat Shalom and a good weekend, and we will see you next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.